racketeering, and transporting prostitutes. He denies all the charges. For the last 2 months, America has been gripped by the trial.
Or anything like that. So as far as him being inside that courtroom, it was still the same old Diddy that we've seen, kind of in the same old outfit that we've seen him in as well.
Imagine being 13 years old, surrounded by black-draped mirrors, strict rules, and the constant feeling of being watched. Now imagine a star in sunglasses walks in, selects a boy, and 2 days later, that boy returns. Silent, changed, broken. What they saw will make your skin crawl. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The boy doesn't call it a memory. He calls it a curse. A Polaroid photo that he keeps tucked deep in a drawer. The image as haunting today as the day he snapped it.
Judge, but Eva, I think today really put into focus the tension that the defense is trying to show between coercion and consent.
Faces blurred, outlines smudged like someone scraped them with an eraser. Except for one. A man in sunglasses, grinning like he didn't just step into a building full of kids abandoned by the world. That man? Diddy. The survivor was 13, living in an orphanage that didn't feel like a home or even a place where people might care about kids. It was like a bad school play, he once said, describing how they were made to dress neatly, sing songs, or perform dances whenever important guests arrived. But none of it ever felt right, not the black-draped mirrors or the way the staff barked at them to smile so hard their faces hurt. They weren't kids. They were puppets, moving on cue. And then came December 2011. The boy remembers the day vividly because the room went dead quiet when Diddy walked in. He wore sunglasses inside, scanned the kids like he was flipping through a menu, and then pointed at Raheem. Raheem didn't say anything. He just stood, like he knew better than to ask questions. 2 days later, Raheem came back different. He didn't talk about where he'd been or what had happened. He barely spoke at all. The staff told the other kids it was nothing. Focus on your tasks, they were told. But how do you stay focused when the boy who shared your bunk won't meet your eyes anymore? The Polaroid was taken later that same week, not because the boy wanted a keepsake, but because something didn't make sense. Why were their faces blurred and unrecognizable, while Diddy's smile stood out so clearly?
Then last September, Sean Combs was arrested and charged with trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion.
He says he looks at it sometimes and still feels sick. The orphanage had rules, and every rule seemed built to crush who they were. Names didn't matter. Feelings didn't matter. That Polaroid, though, that's the one thing that stayed real. What still haunts him is this. After Raheem returned, it was like the staff knew something had shifted. They stopped mentioning him altogether, like he was a bad memory they were trying to bury along with everything else that place hid.
And the judge also said it would be inappropriate for him to consider race when making the decision.
The orphanage now stands as a burned-out shell, sagging under the weight of its secrets, but one detail refuses to fade. A single red glove found among the rubble. Scrawled nearby were the words, "He clapped once." What does it mean? That's the question investigators became obsessed with when they started connecting the dots between missing children, old VHS tapes, and a visitor whose name never made the official logs. The deeper they searched, the more blank spaces they uncovered.
Jersey, and the judge said that raised broader questions about his candor and whether he made a deliberate attempt to try and get himself seated.
Racketeering and transporting prostitutes. He denies all the charges. For the last 2 months, America has been gripped by the trial.
The orphanage's records showed no trace of 7 children who disappeared in 2011. No adoption paperwork, no health checkouts, no exit dates, just silence, as if they had been erased. Then came the find that made even seasoned archivists shiver, a faded Polaroid tucked behind VHS logs. The image showed a young boy holding a tape. Behind him stood a man, wearing that signature grin and sunglasses. On the back, someone had scribbled in thick blue ink. He clapped once. While investigators analyzed the chilling photo, they got an unexpected break from Andrei Makievich, the night janitor. Andrei described a room. Not just any room. Session Room 3, which wasn't on any blueprint. He cleaned it weekly, and it was filled with things other rooms didn't have. Red gloves, baby oil, even unsettling drawings left behind. He called it session residue. It didn't stop there.
Which, obviously I know now that's to prevent the baby oil from spilling and probably staying in the furniture.
One night, Andrei found a VHS tape labeled Session 7 Playback Approved and, out of curiosity, decided to watch it. What he saw left him pale. A boy was on the stage surrounded by mirrors when a single clap echoed. The boy began moving, not like someone dancing, but as if his limbs weren't his anymore. The tape zoomed in on his face, then cut to black. Andrei buried the tape shortly after, but swore he started hearing claps in random places, like it was following him.
Or anything like that. So as far as him being inside that courtroom, it was still the same old Diddy that we've seen, kind of in the same old outfit that we've seen him in as well.
Franklin Shaw, a former cultural attaché, revealed the biggest twist. Diddy's visit wasn't on official logs, but a memo surfaced telling staff to ensure session playback 7 is destroyed.
For this particular trial, and he said that could not stand.
Aaron, the defense has made arguments that this is racially motivated.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. If convicted, he faces the possibility of life in prison.
The investigators' final footage hints the cycle continues. A mirror, a red glove, and a reality split wide open. The orphanage's story didn't die with its fire-blackened walls. It clings to the survivor's memory, lingers in missing files, and even follows anyone brave or foolish enough to ask questions. A Polaroid here, a phrase like, "he clapped once there," and suddenly the weight of those silenced voices feels unbearable. Someone worked hard to keep those 7 children forgotten.
About how he treated people in his orbit as prosecutors seek to prove that he was running a criminal enterprise.
So while the defense did have somewhat of a rational reason, it did not meet a legal reason.
But silence only works if we allow it. This is no ghost story. It's a plea for truth. Share this, talk about it, ask why no one has answers. Because the truth isn't lost, it's deliberately buried. Maybe it's time we start digging.